sent me to proclaim liberty to captives, sight to the blind, to proclaim a year of favor from the Lord. Indeed, preaching and healing, and with this we have described the readings of today, the fifth Sunday in Ordinary Time. By virtue of our baptism, we are all to proclaim the good news, together with its virtues, as we find them in the Beatitudes. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And in the Gospel according to Luke, he has brought down the mighty from their thrones and exalted those of humble estate. In order to proclaim, you do not necessarily need words, as so well demonstrated during a drama played out during the recent Day for Consecrated Life. A man was seen drumming exceptionally well. He was even paid for drumming during the church services. But then one day the choir master made a remark about his drumming. And very annoyed, the drummer stood up and walked away, convinced that they would call him back because nobody could drum as he did. But nobody ever called the man back. Frustrated, the drummer went to another church in order to drum there. But on his way he had an accident and he broke his arm. No more drumming for the man. Indeed, his pride has brought him low till the state that he even had to beg for money. But even when we have fallen deep through our own pride, the Lord our God continues to come down to us. Indeed, do not judge too fast when you meet people in a desperate state. Job too was in a desperate state. He even said, "My eye will see never good again." But his condition was not as a result of pride. As in the case of Simon's mother-in-law, Jesus shows us the right attitude to suffering and desperate people. He comes to them, takes them by the hand, and lifts them up. To woe to the people, the Lord has now nothing else than your legs. To take them by the hand, the Lord has now nothing less than your hands. And to lift them up, the Lord has now nothing more than your arms. And then finally, to say a word of encouragement and prayer, the Lord has need of your words. And does he not strengthen you to do all this with the gift of himself in the Holy Eucharist, and with his word put into your heart? The German theologian Bonhoeffer said, when Christ calls a man to follow him, he calls him to die. There was no mission, and there can never be a mission without the cross. And the great missionary St. Paul said, "I've been crucified with Christ. I live no longer, but Christ lives in me." And from here we can continue with the teaching of St. Therese of Avila. A man can bear all things, provided he possesses Christ, dwelling with him as his friend and affectionate guide. Christ gives us help and strength, never deserts us, and is true and sincere in his friendship, never deserting us in trouble or in difficulty. And so the Apostle Paul could do no other than continually speaking about Jesus, because he had Jesus engraved and printed on his heart. When the sick and the possessed were running to Jesus for healing, they already were filled with hope. As long as Christ lives, never lose his hope. As Pope John Paul II remarked in his days, the continent of Africa faces many difficulties, crises and conflicts, which bring so much suffering and misery. Some Africans at times are tempted to think that the Lord has abandoned them, that He has forgotten them. We want to say a word of hope and encouragement to you, the family of God in Africa. Christ, our hope, is alive. Africa is destined not for death, but for life. Job 2, although he remarked, "My days come to their end without hope," his health and wealth were soon restored, even to greater heights, foreshadowing what awaits us, what no eye has seen and no ear has heard. Indeed, this message of hope and healing has to be proclaimed as far as you can reach with your legs, arms, and words. Even when Pharaoh said, "I will not let the people of Israel go," eventually he let them go. Equally, when now leaders and even world leaders say, "I will not support a ceasefire," we can trust God. A ceasefire will come in His own good time. And that is hope. We are destined for life. And so praise the Lord, who heals the brokenhearted and binds up all our wounds.